What's up, y'all? Welcome to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we're going to be talking about a new game I got to play called Antro, as well as going over the summer anime list of things that I'm looking forward to. But before I get into all that, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Dad Needs to Talk, it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV shows, movies, and of course, some video games. So, it has been a interesting last couple of weeks. I hope those of y'all that were curious checked out my first official quote unquote video game review that I did for Ruffy and the Riverside that came out last week. So I hope y'all check that out. That was a super awesome game, super awesome experience. And just in general, I hope everybody out there is just doing well. It is crazy to believe that we are already at freaking July. It's like it being July means that the kids have already been out of school for a month, which means they pretty much only have another maybe month and a half left of summer break, and it's just like I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah. So before we get into that, man, I just gotta just talk about a couple of things, life wise, and could just like general game news stuff, whatever. I'll kind of tie it all together, and then we'll get into the fun stuff of the show. But if you want to skip ahead, check the description box below for timestamps. So, uh, positive stuff, whatever. I want to say shout out to EA for announcing that because so y'all know last year they brought back college football, resounding success. Not surprised after being gone for over a decade, and so they teased today that they're going to be bringing back college basketball, but it's not going to be coming back until maybe 2028. So the funny thing about that spacing of timeline stuff, whatever, is that the last college basketball game came out in November of 2009. My oldest son was one, and my twin daughters were maybe a couple weeks old. And by the time the game comes back, they will be potentially finished with high school, heading into college. And it's kind of crazy to think about, depending on the actual release of the game, if it is 28 or maybe even the next year 29 or whatever, there could even potentially be some of their people from their graduation class or just different peers that they've known and met over the years that are playable in this game. So it's pretty cool to think about. Now, the part I gotta air vent just a little bit, not too much, whatever, because certain people I don't think they will listen to this podcast, whatever. But if so, hey, I gotta speak my mind. So had a little bit of a frustrating thing this weekend. So my daughters had a basketball tournament this weekend or whatever. So my wife was away dealing with some family stuff, whatever. So I was on dad duty doing basketball stuff, whatever. So got the roster, the schedule, everything. Like, hey, who? This is all the people that are playing this weekend or whatever. Here's the date, the schedule, location, yada yada yada. So we get there, whatever. First game, unfortunately, they got blown out or whatever. So it's like, okay. And one of my daughters didn't get to play at all. So okay, it's weird. And it's my daughter who. So I mentioned before my twins. Growing up, one when they were little like 4 or 5 years old, everybody did basketball and track. And then once they got to like 7 or so, they split. One twin focused on basketball, the other one focused on track. And then over the last couple of years, when they got to middle school, now into high school, whatever, now they are both doing both. So the daughter that's still fairly new to basketball, whatever, she's the one that didn't get to play. And in general, it's like, okay, it happens from time to time, whatever. As a former player myself, whatever, there were definitely some high school games and stuff back in the day where I didn't get to play as well. But in this situation where we have a pretty big team and the roster was trimmed down to like, hey, these are the people that are going to play. If she wasn't supposed to play, then hey, why put on the schedule, whatever. So anyway, talking to the coach, whatever, he's saying that the list he saw from the head coach, which is the main coach, is my son's coach, whatever. Well, they were out in Kansas this weekend, which we probably would have been as well, but my son is still injured and can't play right now. So anywho, so he claimed that my daughter wasn't on the schedule, whatever, on the active roster list, whatever, and I showed him the message I have on my phone that I got late the night before. So as up to date as possible, whatever. I'm like, hey, yep, here she is right next to the sister, whatever. It was like, oh, well, this is the one I got. She's not on my list. Da, da, da. Okay, whatever. Hey, now we're on the same page because we got 3 games to play today, whatever. So whatever, we'll let the first game slide or whatever. Second game got canceled because the other team forfeited. So then the third and last game of the day, whatever, once again, she didn't play. So it was like, okay, what the hell is going on? Fast forward to Sunday. So Sunday come in and I'm like, okay, I've given benefit of the doubt or whatever. You have now had a full day of knowing who is here, who is not here, to make a game plan or whatever. And once again, still did not play on the games Sunday. So my daughter, obviously, distraught because it's like, okay, obviously, aside from just in general not getting to play, but it also sucks having a sibling, let alone a twin, you know, getting to play. Pretty much everybody else on the team but her got to play whatever. And I was talking to my wife about this and stuff of like I said, I've played basketball for a long time, whatever. We have been parents of our kids doing this for over a decade. We understand there are ebbs and flows to how different things go, whatever. And for me, I am like, I can make peace with somebody not playing or not playing a lot or whatever if what I see the coach doing makes sense. If I see, okay, I see what you were doing or whatever, because I understand there are certain games or certain situations where it's like, hey, we have good momentum going or whatever the case may be, or whatever. Okay, might not put somebody that's not as up to task into the mix, whatever. But when it's like you're playing everybody but the one, and the one has more experience than some of the ones you were playing, it's like okay, because it's like just seeing some of like the player rotations and some of the subbing and stuff, whatever, some of the mixing of athletes on the floor, whatever. It's like, some of these girls, we've watched play for many years at this point, whatever, because that's how long we've been on the team, whatever. But even just watching the couple games, over the weekend or whatever, it's like even I could just through sheer observance can tell that, okay, hey, there is success when there are certain combinations of people on the floor, and then we start to fall behind when other combinations are on the floor. And yet, why do you still continue to do those same combinations game after game after game after game? Which, like I said, leads to the more frustrating part of like, okay, So, but anyway, I just had to vent on that or whatever. So we'll see how things go, whatever. Once we get a chance to talk with the uh, the main coach, whatever, sometime this week, whatever. But the other thing that sucked about that or whatever too is that like the previous a couple weeks ago or whatever. So my daughters have been guest playing with a previous team of theirs or whatever because there's some spots during the summer where there hadn't been many games on the schedule. So it's okay, well, hey, let's get y'all continue having y'all work and practice and stuff, whatever. And there was a moment where we were told, hey, it's fine to guest play, but y'all gotta choose priorities and yada 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 or whatever. So last Thursday, my daughters had a chance to play with their guest team or whatever, but we were like, no, we're gonna stick with the actual team they're on or whatever, because we had this tournament coming up this weekend. Well, now in hindsight, it's like, well, if we knew things were gonna go down like this, whatever, then we would heck at least let the one daughter play last Thursday so she can at least get her reps and stuff in or whatever. And so now we're kind of being put in a position to where it's like, okay, well, hey, well, you told us what it was, we chose you, but then it's like it's not being reciprocated or whatever and stuff. So, but anyway, so all that stuff gets messy, can get into sports politics and all that stuff, whatever. But like I said, just had to vent a little bit of frustration on that or whatever because honestly, real talk, if I had the capacity, and I've said this about a lot of things, whatever, but it's like I feel like I would be up to task of coaching my daughter's team because we had lots of great people, whatever. And like I said, the problem this weekend wasn't that we weren't up to snuff; it was the execution. Like I said, the combinations of players. Like there are certain players that are primary, really good ball handlers that can also handle pressure really well. One of those three people should be on the floor at all times, but there were many points to where none of them were on the floor, and that's when things start to fall apart. And so it's like little things like that, just through observance, whatever. I probably could have did a better job on, but anywho, I've spent enough time on that or whatever. So let's dive into the fun stuff. So I appreciate y'all allowing me to vent. But yeah, so let's talk about that game really briefly. Okay, so let's talk about Antro briefly. So Antro, I guess I would say, is kind of like a run based music rhythm style game. And what I mean by that, so run based, so if y'all ever seen this game, and I've talked about it before, called Aerial Nights We Never Yield, where it's just, hey, you just running through the level, avoiding obstacles, different things like that. It's that kind of mixed with, if you've played Rayman Legends, and how that game has like the musical levels and stuff, whatever, that are some of my favorites. It's kind of like those two things mixed mashed up. So Antro is developed by Gatera Studio, which is a studio out of Barcelona. So I talked about this game earlier this year, and those of y'all watching the YouTube version, I'm gonna show some gameplay, hopefully. So, intro. Sorry, I'm gonna toss this down here. Um, so like I said, so it is a game from a team based out of Barcelona. And so when I played the demo for it earlier this year, whatever, I was extremely excited about this game. Just like I said, just because of like the setup, the look of it. Like I said, with it being from Barcelona, a lot of the music and stuff was kind of like Spanish themed and tones and different things like that or whatever. And so I enjoyed what I played of the demo earlier this year. So I do have to say shout out to the studio for giving me a code to review the game, and it just kind of makes me sad because I wish for more of this game. So what I mean by that, so on the positive side, like the world, the setup. So the setup of this is that basically it takes place in basically this kind of like underground society where things something happened to the surface and everybody's pretty much forced to live underground. And how things typically go in these type of societies is like the lower level you live on the is for the poor and things like that. So you play as this main character named Niche, who is basically kind of like a delivery guy. And so you were basically tasked with delivering this package to for something on one of the higher levels or whatever. And so that is kind of like the basic setup of the game. So like I said, like there are the musical levels or whatever, where you're kind of like running and escaping these robots and different things like that or whatever that are trying to attack you and stuff. And that is how you are getting through the game. Now, those parts were, I would say, 90% some of my favorite parts of the game because, like I said, the music of it was freaking so cool and so dope. And I appreciated the little detail of being able to have subtitles on for the lyrics. So typically, what I would do is I would play through the levels at least maybe a couple of times to where just playing through it once, just trying to get through it, and then later on I would play through it again and then actually try to read and pay attention to what the lyrics or whatever because the background of this is basically centered around kind of like a revolution happening, and there is lots of things and references to uh, paying homage to historical figures that were part of life changing moments or life changing movements like a Malcolm X or MLK or different other historical figures of different nationalities and stuff, whatever, which is pretty cool to see. And yeah, so like I said, like this part of the game, phenomenal. But I will say though is that sometimes I wish that they would crank up the speed at least like point 0.5, like just like a hair, because some of like the movement and stuff, whatever, it felt so sluggish with the movement and stuff. Sometimes when you're like going through these levels or whatever, it's like because like I said, like the beat and the music and stuff, everything was flowing so good, but like I said, just like sometimes like the movement of the character just seemed like okay, it need to be turned up a little notch. And then with the gameplay, like I said, for the most part, it's pretty much running through these levels and with like minimum combat, because typically it's like, okay, you're approaching an enemy and then there's a prompt to attack. Or of course, to like to slide and dodge or whatever the case may be or whatever. And I would say there were times to where some of like the traversal stuff, whatever, was either a little bit hard to read or a little bit clunky because there are some parts and some levels where I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here? Or is what I'm looking at, is this like fire coming up? Is this actually an obstacle in front of me I need to overcome? Or is this part of the background? And so that happened a few times. And like I said, as far as like the misjudgment of like the timing of the jumps and stuff, and later on in the game too, whatever, there was like a particular level um, that I liked the idea and the aesthetic choices of it or whatever, but for like a better term, it felt like they tried to get a little bit too cute with some of the like traversal stuff because like priming so like later on there was like a level where it had these like leaves that were sticking out the side of a building, whatever. They were kind of like going up and down to the music or whatever. And like I said, like at first it's like okay, that's a neat idea or whatever. But like I said, with the kind of like sometimes sluggish movement and speed, and then the way like the pedals were like then moving like that, or it was like, and so I died a lot like unnecessarily on stuff like that. But and overall too, the game ended up being honestly probably under an hour, maybe an hour max, but I don't even think that because on my PlayStation 5 or whatever, on the time, it still hasn't ticked over to showing an hour played. So it is like a super short experience, which once again, like I said, for what it is, makes sense because these type of games typically are not that long. But like I said, I kind of wish for a little bit more meat on the bones because, like I said, like the core of what's there is really good. It is really, really good. And I definitely can see myself coming back to just like when I was playing through this demo over and over and over, coming back to and replaying some of these levels again just to hear the very dope music and the vibe of the environment. But like I said, it was just like when it was over, it also kind of had like the type of ending that just kind of just stopped, and it was kind of like, wait, that was it. It was like, thank you for playing. The credits rolled, and you can't even fast forward the credits or skip them or nothing or whatever. Which for the first time I understand, but when I went through and I played through that ending sequence again or whatever, and then I wasn't able to do nothing with that where I still couldn't fast forward or whatever. It was like, okay. So like I said, high highs early on, but like I said, like the way things kind of came together in the end between, like I said, like how the story ended, and then like I said, like some personal frustrations with the traversal and stuff through some things, whatever. Yeah. So, but all in all, like I said, definitely a cool idea that I look forward to hopefully seeing maybe even this game maybe getting some patches and updates over time, and then hopefully in the years to come seeing a new project from this team, because like I said, getting a game from Barcelona was super dope, because like I said, that is a area, a region that at least me personally I haven't gotten to play and experience a lot of games from that area and stuff. So, but yeah, so Antro, it is out now. Let me double check actually the platforms. I know for sure PS5. Do. Let's see. PS5, Steam. Are there any other platforms? Hmm, that might be it. Let me just triple check. Okay, yeah. Xbox, PS5, Steam, and Epic Game Store. There is a physical version on PS5. I believe the game was like $15 or so, or whatever. So not bad on price, but like I said, it was like I said, like maybe clocked in at around an hour or so, and yeah. So this was one I was gonna try to go through and get the platinum trophy for, just because it seemed like it is pretty doable. But like I said, like some of like the because one of the trophies is get through every level without sustaining any damage or whatever. For most of them, it's fine. But like I said, some of those ones that had the very cumbersome platforming or whatever, I just was not able to make it happen. So, but yeah, so that's Antro. Like I said, out now, and yeah. So like I said, I hope for the best for that team and for their uh, future projects that they might do. So, all right, so let's go ahead and let's just roll right into the. I think maybe I'll roll into the anime. Let me check something real quick. Okay, very briefly before I dive into the anime, the summer anime list, or whatever. So I did watch the first three episodes of Ironheart. Really enjoyed it. Super dope show. I'll talk more about that next week because the final three episodes are coming out the day that this episode is coming out for y'all. So I'll be watching that and let y'all know what I think next week. Um, I started watching season three of The Bear. I watched two episodes so far. Emotional roller coaster already, because that very first episode was very what's the word? Kind of like melancholic in a sense, whatever. Where it's kind of somber tone, just like reflecting on everything that a lot of these characters have kind of been through up to this point. And then episode two, it is just kind of a lot of like things ramping up, fussing, screaming, shouting, drama already. And I'm like, yo, whiplash from the first episode of the season. So this is definitely one I'm going to just chip away at slowly at my own pace. Just like an episode or two here and there. Because, yeah, I can't binge that one, buddy. Season three of Squid Games is out or whatever. I haven't watched it yet. My wife watched it. She said she enjoyed it. So I might see if maybe I can try to squeeze in those episodes over this next week. We'll see. Um, and what else? I feel like it was something else I had watched. What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something. All right, yeah, guess not. I just scrolled through my Twitter just to double check, and yeah, nothing else really. I caught up and finished watching Two Perfect Saint, the anime. That was a really good show. Go check out the homies Polo and Tail on My Chick Waifu. They did a whole review discussion episode about it. I do want to say shout out to The Angel Next Door, Spoils Me Rotten. Season 2 is confirmed for April of next year. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think that's it. One Piece had a crazy chapter. Bro, that Oda was like, yo, we ain't had a sad backstory in a long time. Let me just slide this to y'all real quick. So that was crazy. The chapter of Centuria this week seemed like it hit a pretty big climactic moment. So we'll see how that shakes out next chapter. And yeah, I think that is it. So let's go ahead and dive into these summer anime shows. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna kind of just like go over just like some ones I want to highlight or whatever. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the known quantity shows that everybody and their mama already know about and stuff. I just want to kind of point out some some maybe more like hidden gem ones that maybe should be on y'all's radar. So I'm trying to talk about this in as close to release order as possible from this from looking at Annie list. So hopefully y'all can follow along, maybe put some stuff on y'all's radar. So first up is Takopi's Original Sin. Now this one, the first episode has already started, and it's only going to be 6 episodes long. So this is one I have never read the manga for this, but I've always heard that it is super depressing. And you get that hint from when you look at the cover of the manga volumes. It's got the MC just bawling pools of tears. Uh, so yeah, so you know you're probably in for a world of hurt. So looking forward to that. So the synopsis of this is a happy alien Takopi lands on Earth, and I don't know why my monitor keeps flickering, with one mission: to spread happiness. When he meets Shizuka, a lonely fourth grader, he vows to bring back her smile using his magical happy gadgets. But as he uncovers the pain in her life, Takopi learns that true happiness may require more than gadgets. So, yeah. Like I said, that one's already airing. I believe that one's on Crunchyroll, I believe. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. The private tutor to the Duke's daughter seemed like it might be one I might check out eventually. It's not a priority watch for me, but let me kind of pull up these synopses on my phone because my monitor is kind of acting funky over here on the side. Okay, so private tutor to the Duke's daughter. So the synopsis for this is: after Alan failed the court sorcerer exam, he couldn't return home even if he wanted to. While searching for a job, an unexpected offer comes his way to be the private tutor of the Duke's daughter. Just as he lowers his guard, he faces a girl who can't use magic at all. But what is preventing her magic from working? Alan's unconventional lessons gently shine a light on the girl's future. So that one's already started airing as well. So like I said, it seems like it could be just like a fun, wholesome, fantasy show. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Let's see. Oh, detectives these days are crazy. So this is a what is it listed as a comedy mystery. So, Nagamo Kichiro was a genius high school detective. No case was complex enough for him. But what happens to genius detectives when they get older? Now 35, now 35 with bad hips, running a failing detective agency with no cases to solve and struggling to pay the rent. He's at a dead end. In comes a high school girl in his office who says she wants to work with him. With her help, will the out of touch old fashioned Nagamo get back the fire of his youth? Once again, that just seems like a fun show. It just seems like it could be a recipe for some potential fun shenanigans. So that's one I kind of got my eyes on. That's gonna be airing. Oh, is it tomorrow? Yeah, I think it is tomorrow. Let me see. Yeah, July 1st. So we'll know soon. All right. Now, this one, a returning show that I am genuinely excited about, and that is Reborn as a Vending Machine, Season 2. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of y'all out there, clowned on the show when it originally aired. But this is one that, yeah, I watched for the novelty of it at first because I was like, okay, this is so weird Like I've watched a crap ton of isekai, but never have I watched anything where somebody got reincarnated as a inanimate object. Because I didn't watch the that reincarnated as a sword one that came out a couple years ago, whatever. But yeah, so I watched it or whatever, and it was like, okay, ha ha ha, because everybody and their mama was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this just so I can drop it or whatever. But I was like, you know what? I found something kind of nice and wholesome in the show, so I continued to watch it. And so I watched the whole season or whatever, and thought it was just a fun adventure fantasy isekai show or whatever. So I don't know, but I will be watching season two. It might not be a priority watch every week, but it's definitely a comfort show type of show for me. So yeah. So Reborn as a Vending Machine season two. Now continuing to scroll up this list. So I'm trying to get my phone matched up with where I'm at. Let's see. I don't know about this necromonic and cosmic horror show. Uh, yeah, I don't know about that one. Uh, Hell Teacher. I feel like this Hell Teacher one. I feel like this is based off of like an older series or something. Let me check. Hell Teacher, Jigoku Sensei Nube. Uh, yes. This is a remake of a older series. So the manga for this originally came out, ran from 1993 to 99, 276 chapters. So this is an old 90s anime series, manga series that did get an anime way back in the day. When did this come out? 96. So yeah, so it had a short run anime as well. So yeah, so this is getting a remake. So the synopsis for this one is follows Nube, a psychic teacher with a demon hand, as he battles evil spirits and monsters to protect his students in this saga that employs elements of Japanese mythology and folklore to tell a fan pleasing action story. Known for its occult and horror elements on school ghost stories and urban legends. So yeah, so looking forward to checking out more of this series and maybe seeing what that's looking like. I don't know. That might be one I let stack up a few episodes, but yeah, definitely one I got my eyes on. This other one, Clevatess. I feel like this is another like older series. They got remade or something. Let's see, manga. Okay, no. This is a newer series, 2020. So, okay. So Clevatess. The story centers on the titular Clevatess, the Lord of Dark Beasts, who wields both uncanny intellect and destructive power. Frustrated by the 13 heroes tasked to destroy him, he has decided to be rid of humanity once and for all. However, he has been charged with one nuisance. He revived a hero he personally slayed and adopts an orphan humanoid baby, the last hope to save a dying world. The world stands on the brink of Armageddon with the obligation of raising one child, holding it all back. Huh. That sounds like it would be a fun little adventure. So we'll see how Clevantis goes. Okay, scrolling up. New saga, no. Kamutsubaki City under construction. Let's see, what does that one say? Humanity under destruction. 7 years after humanity was devastated by a major disaster, a beacon of science and prosperity rises. in Kamusubaki City, but lurking in its shadows are Tesseractor monsters born from human darkness. Only the witchling five girls with voices that wield magic stand against them. Eh, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that doesn't sound too appealing. Let's see. Dan to Dan season 2. Y'all already know what that is. That's coming back. I do want to go back and like watch all of season 1 because way years ago, whatever, when the manga first started, I read maybe like 20 to 30 chapters of the manga. It's pretty cool, but just didn't feel the urge to keep going. Now we're at season 2 of the anime, and the manga just crossed chapter 200 today. So still going strong, still highly popular. So I do want to circle back to it, but this might be maybe somewhere down the line, maybe after even this season finishes, I'll check it out. Let's see. So David Productions has a new anime original series called Onmyo Kaiten Rebirth Verse. The anime is set in a alternate version of Haikenyo, the old name of Kyoto and the capital of Japan's Heian era. This alternate version of the city is named Denji Hayako. A delinquent high schooler named Takarin resides in our world, but after an unfortunate accident is transported to Denji Kaito. He immediately meets Tsukimiya, a woman he has seen many times before in his dreams. But hardly a moment passes after that encounter that Takaro and Tsukimaki encounter an Oni monster, and lose their lives. Okay, that's a lot going on in that sentence. I don't know. that might be one maybe I'll circle back to at some point later on, but I don't know. Let's see. Scrolling through. Let's see. Call of the Night season 2. Very excited for that. That first season was just utterly beautiful. If you like kind of like a chill, kind of like a drama romance series, then Call of the Night is a good one. Let's see. Uh, The Water Magician. That was one I was definitely interested in. Uh, Rio is delighted to be reincarnated into the fantastical world of Fee, where he thinks he'll get to live a quiet life learning to use his newfound water magic. Going with the flow here, however, means something very different. Rio is immediately pitted against the wild lands he winds up in and the slew of deadly monsters that call the remote subcontinent home. You think you forget about taking it easy when he's stuck fighting for his life, but lucky for Rio, he's naturally optimistic, clever, and blessed with the hidden eternal youth trait. 20 years pass in the blink of an eye, and each encounter along the way pushes him one step closer to the pinnacle of human magic. Little does he realize that that's only the opening chapter of his tale. So, that one sounds like a Rob type of anime. A little bit of a isekai guy reborn in a different world. Wants to chill, but destiny has other plans for him. That's a Robert type of show. Let's see. Welcome to the Outcasts restaurant. When superstar adventurer Dennis gets booted from the world's strongest party, he teams up with a runaway Atelier to serve up his true passion, delicious cuisine. But this not so average eatery has not so average patrons. Dennis will battle his quirky customers' troubles with his trusty butcher knife and work. Visit Adventurer's Restaurant and fill up your heart and stomach. I don't know, that could be that has the marks to be a wholesome like slice of life series. So I'll keep my eyes open on that one. Uh, Rascal does not dream of Santa Claus. I just heard Polo and Tail talking about this on Mic Check, or whatever. I remember watching that first series that Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl, and I remember liking it years ago, but that was so long ago. Like my brain, like Polo said, like my brain was not really tuned to like really think too deeply about anime like that. I feel like at the time, so I don't know. That might be one I might circle back to at some point, but right now, not right now. Let's see. What is up on this list next? Uh, hmm, no. Okay, let's see. Secrets of the Silent Witch. Monica Everett, the Silent Witch, is the world's only practitioner of voiceless magic. A veritable heroine who single-handedly fended off the Black Dragon of legend. However, the young prodigy is actually super duper shy. Yep, turns out she only learned voiceless magic to avoid speaking in public. That could be a fun one, but I don't know. I'll kind of keep that in my back pocket. Uh, the Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. This one was like a fantasy action comedy series. Yeah, it says a hero Toto possesses great skills, but his extreme shyness has left him unable to form a party, causing him to remain stuck in the town where his journey began. One day, he is suddenly invited to join a party by three beautiful women. Overjoyed at finally setting off on an adventure, Toto is filled with excitement, but little does he know these women are dead set on killing him. A deadly harem rom-com unfolds as the socially anxious hero who faints from mere flustered excitement around women finds himself the target of three deadly companions. Eh, I don't know. That is a maybe. Let's see. Moving up the list. Oh, My Dress Up Darling season 2, comedy romance, little etchy, super dope season 1. Really enjoyed it. So definitely looking forward to season 2 of this. Uh, Night, Night of the Living Cat. This is one I read a long time ago, early in Danny's Talk podcast lore. So it was actually 2022, so 3 years ago, which is crazy to think that I've been doing this that long. Uh, I talked about this, and shout out to the homie Airy, aka Sundari, because we had talked about it back then. But uh, but yeah, that the setup of it is basically it is a horror series, which I'm surprised they didn't, because I could have sworn that this was set to come out like in fall season. But anywho, so basically it is like a zombie apocalypse, but with cats. Is a short, sweet description of it, to where basically the no a world-ending disaster happened, and pretty much instead of zombies, you get people that turn into cats, and pretty much it is by contact. So if you cuddle with the cats or whatever, then you done for. So in the near future, a unique disease has swept across the planet, a virus that transforms humans into cats. And the horde is expanding since these adorable kitties snuggle with the human. If these are adorable kitties snuggle with the human is transformed into yet another cat. A small group of cat loving survivors is trying to escape the madness, but how can you defend yourself against a threat you just want to cuddle and pet? so, so that one I think is going to be a fun watch. So I was very excited to see this on the list of stuff for this season. All right, so next up, two other pretty big heavy hitters. So, the summer Hikaru died. Now, this is one I read a little bit of the manga of a year or so ago. So, two Japanese friends living in a rural, two best friends living in a rural Japanese village, Yoshiki and Hikaru. Growing up together, they were inseparable until the day Hikaru came back from the mountains and was no longer himself. Himself. Something has taken over Hikaru's body. Memories, feelings, and everything they know begins to unravel. So yeah, so if y'all want some a little bit of horror, mystery, psychological drama, Summer Hikaru Died is one to put on y'all's radar. So uh, next up, a highly anticipated new shonen series, Gachiakuta. So this one, and it's going to be done by Studio Bones, and it's going to be simul-dubbed from what we understand. So, and the dub cast looks phenomenal. So, a boy lives in a floating town where the poor scrape by and the rich live a sumptuous life, simply casting their garbage off the side into the abyss. When he's falsely accused of murder, though, his wrongful conviction leads to an unimaginable punishment, exile off the edge with the rest of the trash. Down on the surface, the cast off waste of humanity has bred vicious monsters, and to travel the path to vengeance against those who cast him into hell, a boy will have to become a warrior. So, one of the things, and I've talked about Gachiakuta at some point before on the podcast, but one of the reasons why, aside from the manga being pretty dope and cool itself, that it has so much prestige and hype behind it, is that the mangaka of this series, she was a protege and a assistant to the author and creator of Fire Force. So she worked on Fire Force, got her chops there, whatever, and then became not just an apprentice, like a assistant on the series, but became his protege. And this series started a month after Fire Force ended, so it was a literal passing of the torch of like, hey, Fire Force has manga has ended. Now on to this new series from somebody who worked on the series. So, and you can see the DNA of that from like some of like the character designs and like the way stuff kind of looks and feels a little bit, but it also has its own unique style and flair to it as well. So, but yeah, so check it out. Let's see. Not really interested too much in that apocalypse bringer Mogura. I don't know. Scooped up by S Rank Adventure. That sounds like typical fantasy adventure stuff I will probably check out at some point. Oh, what is this? Cultural exchange with a game center girl. This is a comedy. Renji, a young man working at a game center, sees a English girl named Lily Baker playing a crane game on Valentine's Day. Seeing her fail repeatedly to win a prize, Renji can't help but take action. The day after Lily finally gets her plushie, Renji receives an unexpected message from her that reads, "Be my Valentine." What started as a misunderstanding leads to a cultural exchange. Huh. I don't know, that might be a wholesome show. Ruri Rocks. So this is the one that kind of gave me the same vibes as that one we watched a couple years ago called DIY Do It Yourself. So mineral collecting is a modern day treasure hunt. Ruri, a high school girl who loves jewelry and accessories, gets into the world of mineral collecting, venturing into mountains, rivers, and caves. The first volume features numerous minerals. The manga is full of fascinating scenes focusing on specialized tools, yada yada. So yeah, so it sounds like DIY a bit or whatever. So it could be just a wholesome slice of life show. Next up, the fragrant flower blooms with dignity. So this is a highly anticipated romance series. So Chidori High is a boys' school that takes in the dregs of society with the lowest grades. Next door stands Kikyo Girls High, where the wealthy, high-class families send their precious daughters. Chidori, a second-year Rentaru, who has a fierce battle with who has a fierce face but a gentle heart, is helping his family's patissier when he meets a girl named Karuko. The two hit it off right away, but this blissful peace is quickly disturbed when Rotaro discovers that Karuko is actually a student at Kikyo. Worse, she doesn't seem to realize what a huge problem this really is. So yeah, so this seems like it's gonna be a nice, fun show, drama, romance. So I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I'm gonna check it out. Now I will say they announced today that so it's supposed to be streaming on Netflix, but it's only gonna be legally on Netflix in Japan until like freaking September, August or September, which I think is when they're gonna do it worldwide, probably hopefully with the dub or whatever. But yeah, so if you want to watch that now, and it sucks that they wait until like the last minute to make that announcement because people are not gonna wait. Most people are not gonna wait to watch that. So let's see. Hotel Inhumans. So the best hotels must meet certain standards, including the finest cuisine, ways to relax, and entertainment, of course. They also need the best selection of weapons, reliable ways to falsify one's identity, and ways to dispose of evidence. In this hotel, at the border of death, stand two concierges. What kind of requests will the assassins have for them next? So this sounds like a show that will focus on pretty much like the employees of the Continental from John Wick. That's what this sounds like. So, and I am down for it. So, Hotel Inhumans is one I will keep my eyes on. Don't really care about those. City the animation. So this is one that literally because of, as the name says, the animation is on my radar to check out just because of how good and unique it looks. So this town, this town is not just a normal town. There's laughter, love, and emotional moments, an unpredictable, ordinary life presented by the residents. So that is City. So that one, like I said, is what a slice of life comedy. The art of the manga looked phenomenal, and the way that they captured that in the trailers and stuff that I've seen or whatever, this might be a nice, peaceful show to watch. Let's see. What is this? Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound mode. I won't die because I was banned from the afterlife. A shady, self-proclaimed hermit named Mogura is banned from the afterlife due to an incident. Now he collects spirit possessed will o wisps in his lantern, hoping to make a comeback. It seems that those who encounter him began to see peculiar things. So, I don't know, maybe. Maybe. See you tomorrow at the food court. Feel like I had read that one before, but I don't know. A couple of Cuckoo season 2, Grand Blue Dreaming season 2. I've heard good things about both of those. Uh, Turkey Time to Strike. Wait, this a bowling anime? Hold on now. Turkey is a bowling term used for scoring 3 consecutive strikes. Mai, a second year student and captain of the Ikokan High School Bowling Club, is a genius who can't seem to win a match. Whenever she scores a turkey, she mysteriously follows it up with a unyielding split split the snake eyes. One day, Rena, the club's only first year member, confronts her. You're doing it on purpose, aren't you? You're running away from winning, but I want to win. If you have no intention of winning, I'll quit. Hey, guys, got a bowling anime on our hands. So hey, that one, Hey, you on my you are on my plan to watch list now. Hey, because I was not expecting a bowling anime. Okay, let's see. Shield Hero season 4. I don't know. This Leviathan movie or show, whatever. I don't know. I have my eyes loosely on this one. So let's see. Leviathan, set in a war torn reimagining of 1914, Leviathan follows Alec, a fugitive prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Daryl Sharp, a young daring girl disguised as a boy, to serve in the British Air Force. When fate throws them together aboard the HMS Leviathan, a massive living airship made from genetically engineered creatures, they embark on a world changing adventure that will challenge everything they know about war, loyalty, and identity. And it's made by Studio Orange, the studio who did Beastars as well as Trigun Stampede. So we'll see. We'll see. Reincarnated as the Seventh Prince season 2. That's on the radar. Uh, Dr. Stone. More Dr. Stone is always a good thing. Uh, do 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 do. Fantasy romance. Wish it had the English name. Let me see if it has an English name over here. Let's see. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see the English name. Oh wait, this isn't filtered by. Oh, it is by air date. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'll keep scrolling. All right, so these next two: Solo Camping for Two, a slice of life series. So, Gen Kino Kimura, 34 years old, a solitary camper who cherishes his alone time in nature. Gen enjoys his usual solo camping trips. However, he unexpectedly encounters Kusano, a complete beginner at camping. Reluctantly, Jin ends up camping with Shizuka, despite it being the last thing he wanted to do. What will become of Jin's peaceful camping life now that it's turned upside down by this new companion? So, sounds like the makings of a wholesome show to me. So, I plan to be watching. Next up, another big one I am excited for: Tougen Anki, Legend of the Cursed Blood. So, the bloodlines of Oni and Momotaro have been passed down among certain humans for generations. Long ago, the Oni, aware of their own ferocity, lived in seclusion. However, their peace was shattered by the invasion led by Momotaro. Over thousands of years, the two factions formed the Momotaro Agency and the Oni Agency, respectively, and have been locked in conflict ever since. The protagonist, Shiki Ichinose, suddenly learns of his Oni lineage following an unexpected attack by the Momotaro. This revelation sets Shiki on a path to discover the destiny that lies within his blood, a meeting with the Oni dwelling within him. A new generation of dark heroics begins here in this tale of demons. So, yeah, this is one that I read a good chunk of a while back, and I am beyond excited because of how much attention this is getting. So, it seems like this might potentially be simuldubbed, potentially, because they announced the dub cast today, and the main character is being dubbed by Mr. Zeno Robinson, who, if you do not know, he voices Hawks in My Hero Academia and lots of other very, very dope anime roles. But but yeah, so they announced that it's gonna be on pretty much every platform. It's gonna be on Netflix, Crunchyroll, I think somewhere else. So it's gonna be on multiple streaming platforms. It's gonna be 24 episodes out the gate. Um, let's see. So this Studio Hibari. So they have done Toilet Bound Hanukkah Cone, Classroom of the Elite. Hmm. They've done some pretty decent things. So, but yeah, so I am excited for it because the bit I saw, I liked the main character. I liked the action. I love how a lot of the characters' powers and abilities are based around like blood techniques or whatever. And I would say I am a sucker for fighting series, whatever, or combat that has an activation word. So just like in Bleach, when they yell Bankai, just like in Jujutsu Kaisen, when they do a domain expansion, stuff like that is what I'm talking about. So everybody in the show kind of has like a key phrase that they say before they activate their different blood technique. And like looking at like from what I read, and then some of the art from like later stuff in the manga, where like some like the character designs, the abilities, I'm like, yo, yeah, I am super excited for this. And like I said, I was excited when I already heard it was going to get an anime, but then when I saw how much attention it's getting from like, hey, it's getting a dub out the gate, it's got 24 episodes, it's going to be on multiple platforms. Hey, I am here for it. I am here for it. So be sure to put that on your radar to check out. So let's see. Sakamoto Days season 2, Bullet, Demon Slayer movie. Uh, what is this? What is this? New Kishita, the animation. The Island of Everlasting Summer, Saren Island. Junosuke Tachibana, whose family home was on this island, returned to it with his sister after the death of their parents. However, Saren Island has become a place of madness due to the implementation of the perverted law, a law designed to combat population decline. And never mind, I'm gonna stop reading. I'm going to stop reading, cause yeah, that is not where I was thinking that was gonna go. And actually, let me double check something with this studio, because this studio, Passione, that name sounds familiar. Well, I guess I can't really judge it by the just the studio over there, because they also did From Old Country Bumpkin, Ishura, Loner Life in Another World, Spice and Wolf remake. So yeah, I can't really go off of that stuff, whatever. But they also seem to do a lot of kind of like harem, etchy anime stuff as well. So yeah, so never mind on that one. Let's see, Kaiju number 8, season 2, which the manga for Kaiju number 8 will be ending in July. So pretty interesting alignment of the stars with the manga coming to an end and season 2 starting. So Let's Go Karaoke. I reviewed this one a while back. It's kind of like a music comedy series. Um, that actually, uh, yeah, okay. So pretty much it follows this high schooler who ends up getting tangled into some stuff with a yakuza guy who ends up being a fan of going karaokeing, and they end up pretty much forming a, I don't know, kind of like a big bro little bro bond, I would say, a little bit with that. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. It's only going to be 4 episodes. Jack, I was like, it's a one shot manga. So, all right. Let's see. Scrolling through these last chunks. Captivated by You. That's also by the same studio that does that created Let's Go Karaoke. Okay. So a lot of this that's left is kind of just general summer list stuff for like the Chainsaw Man Rize movie. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, kind of scrolling back through this list, some for sure must watches for me, going off of new stuff. Probably Takopi's Original Sin. I don't know about that. Detectives these days are crazy. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through, just double checking the new stuff. The Water Magician. Like I said, that Welcome to the Outcast restaurant might be a little sleeper hit in the mix. Let's see. Night of the Living Cast, Gachiakuta. Yeah, yeah. Ruri Rocks for just like a wholesome show. Hotel Inhumans. And yeah. Um, oh, and of course, Tougen, Anki, and solo camping for two. Yeah, so I'm gonna have fun picking the few I'm gonna have in my thumbnail this episode. So for sure, Tougen Anki is gonna be one of them. Maybe even solo camping for two potentially. But but yeah. So that's pretty much it for what's coming up in the summer season. So I hope y'all enjoyed that kind of walkthrough, and we'll be checking back in definitely in the coming weeks, whatever. So, but been going over an hour, way longer than I planned to, but it's always fun going through like the little looking ahead at the season. But I am going to wrap it up. So as always, thank you so much for watching and or listening. You can find me everywhere at Dan Needs to Talk. And like I said, make sure to go check out my review for Ruffy and the Riverside. And I got some more other review stuff coming up because I just started reading a Tower Dungeon manga. That first volume was good enough to where I kept reading past it. So I'll probably be dropping that in the next couple of weeks. And like I said, lots of shows to catch up on. So, but as I always say, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime TV shows and movies, play some video games, and of course, live your best life. And with that, I am out. Y'all have an awesome day and enjoy the rest of y'all week. Y'all be safe. I appreciate y'all. Peace.